India is a country with a long surviving civilizational history and practice known to mankind. Every conservative estimates date the civilization to at least 5,000 to 8,000 years old. So it is not very surprising that a rich repository of knowledge accumulated in the Indian subcontinent and manifested in terms of traditions and practices, right? So unfortunately, due to major changes in the educational system, uh, introduced in India about some 200 years back, there's a great disruption to the process of knowledge transmission, and the continuity is mostly lost. So, with the advent of National Education Policy 2020, the government is trying to bring back our ancient knowledge system into the curriculum. So, either it be school education or higher education, with the concept of introducing IKS into the curriculum. We have to get back our ancient traditions back into practice. So we will get to know what exactly is IKS. Today's lecture, I'm going to aim at to provide an appreciation of IKS and its relevance to contemporary society. It requires a two-part study of IKS. So firstly, we have to know that the first is to develop an overall understanding of the key components of IKS. This is important before we explore the nature of applications. The second aspect is the application of IKS for some gainful use or for some purpose. We all know that right now, we've got so many discoveries and inventions happening right round throughout the world. But all the basis stands good from our Indian knowledge system, our ancient Indian system. Everything which is written in our Puranas or in our Vedas, all the scientific texts that we have that we're going to see in the coming slides, we're going to see everything is rooting out from there. So we're going to study in detail. Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, you could share the next slide. Right. So firstly, we're going to see about Harappan civilization. So we all know exactly. Now, the concept given to me was about science and technology, Indian knowledge system with regards to science and technology. So firstly, we're going to see the Harappan civilization. Harappan civilization is India's first urban civilization that flourished around 3,300 BC to 1500 BC. Okay, the cities of the ancient Indian Harappan civilization, the Indus Valley civilization, where here, we see that their urban planning, their baked bricks houses. Right now also we are using baked bricks only, but it started out from there, from during the Harappan civilization. The elaborate drainage system that they used, the water supply system that they used, and you could see here the cluster of non-residential buildings and the techniques of handicraft and metallurgy. All this is rooted back from the Harappan civilization. We think that we are introducing or inventing something, but if you go back to the ancient text, everything is written in the ancient text. We only have to have patience and passion to go back and read and try and understand. So with the advent of Indian knowledge system, the government is making is taking an initiative so that we understand our ancient text and see that everything is written over there. We are implementing it now. So the credit should go to the Indians, because these are all our Indian texts. The credit should go to the Indians in inventing or discovering them. But we are giving, because we have no knowledge about the ancient Indian text, we are giving the honor to the other countries. So in order to avoid that, we want our young students from the school and our students from the higher education to know about what exactly is Indian knowledge system and what is written in those texts. So we are making an initiative to implement this into our curriculum. We could see here that what I would like to say here, in the Harappan civilization, whatever the urban society, the urban civilization that we have right now in our society, everything is the same method of construction was followed even in Harappan civilization. They also demonstrated, the advanced architecture with dockyards and granaries where they store grains, or warehouses, brick platforms, protective walls. All these was existing even in the Harappan civilization. These massive walls, which we can see, they protected the Harappans from floods and may have even protected them from military conflicts. So all this was existing but we have given the credit to someone else from some other country to take the onus of such construction. But if you could read our ancient Indian text, all this was existing. So one such example we saw in Harappan civilization. And the other one is, if you could see, next one, ma'am, next one. When you come here, these are the ancient scientific texts. Next slide. No, ma'am. No, no, no. Please go back. Ma'am, you just have to scroll it. Please scroll it. Yeah. Yeah. So now we're going to see about the mathematical advancements. Okay, what all? The concept of zero. Because the topic given to me was on science and technology. I'm trying to tell you all only about science and technology, but our ancient Indian texts have contributed towards art and literature, towards many more things. It's actually a holistic experience when you go through the ancient Indian text. The topic given to me is science and technology. So first we saw about the construction, what we used during the Harappan civilization. The same thing is still followed right now, even today. Next, coming to the mathematical advancement. So in here, no, first thing, the concept of zero. The concept of zero. Now, this is a revolutionary concept of ancient Indian mathematics. It was, first documented by the Indian mathematician Brahmagupta in the 7th century. His work introduced zero as a symbol and as a concept also, both as a symbol and as a concept. This, this innovation is very pivotal in development of arithmetic, algebra, offering new dimensional to mathematical operations and calculations. In the same way, we have the decimal system. The decimal system was another monumental contribution from ancient India by Aryabhatta. Okay, then we have Bhaskara too, who had made, he's a renowned Indian mathematician from 12th century. He made notable contributions in the field of algebra, in solving quadratic equations, and the concept of derivatives was introduced by Bhaskara too. Then we have geometry and trigonometry. Aryabhatta's work on trigonometry, which including the sine, cosine and inverse sine, all these functions, they help us in enabling the accurate calculation of planetary positions and development of calendar. Okay, so Aryabhatta. So these are all these Aryabhatta, Bhaskara, then all these people, we have texts in our ancient Indian literature where all these things are already mentioned. But later on, we have this Pythagoras theorem, which is developed. The basis for this also is again from our ancient Indian text. In the same way, now when we go to astronomy, the knowledge of astronomy is found mostly in Sanskrit in the shape of shloka. In Vedas, Vishnu Purana, Ramayana are epics. Ramayana, Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and so many epics. Okay, in India, all the scientific information is imbibed in routine life by explaining them through the mythological stories. Every other mythological story has a concept behind it. We have to decipher that concept. Through tradition or custom, all scientific truths are brought to the stage of implementation in day-to-day life. During the period of 2500 BC to 500 CE, BCE to CE, the astronomy of ancient India formed several treatises in India. The different applications of astronomy are observed in Rig Veda. We have 4 Vedas. So the applications of astronomy you could see in Rig Veda, which is written in 2000 BC in India. Astronomy is linked with astrology in ancient India. We call it as Khagola Shastram. It is forecasting of horoscopes. It's still continued even today. This astronomy and astrology of India were based upon certain calculations. We call them as sidereal calculations, astronomical principles. They were applied to calculate the occurrence of eclipses, to determine the Earth's circumference, to explain this distance between the Earth and Sun, to explain about sun and star, to know that there are 9 planets in the solar system. So all this astronomy and astrology, which were written in our ancient text, all these was the basis for all the things which I told you, like the occurrence of eclipses, solar and lunar eclipse, or to determine Earth's circumference or distance between the sun and Earth, or to know about in detail about sun, composition of sun, star, and number of planets in the solar system. You know, in the ancient maximum astronomical study, which was developed in the Vedic period, they believe that the sun moves around the Earth. The truth was discovered by Copernicus in the 16th century and Galileo in the 17th century. Most of the astronomical calculations in ancient India were accurate, which is written in the ancient texts. They were accurate, but we didn't have any modern instruments. Right now we have got all sophisticated instruments, but then also whatever is written in our ancient text, whatever calculations that we see, they are more or less accurate. They are very much near to the calculations that we see today with modern instruments. So the information of the 9 planets in the solar system, it was discovered by ancient Indians, but the credit is given to foreigners. Credit is given to someone from not from India. But if we could read, because at that time we didn't have patenting. At that time we didn't have, there was no copyright or trademark. All such things didn't exist. Now we have all these ethical guidelines, and you have infringement acts and all. But then it was not there. So all the things, the in detail, all these things are mentioned in our ancient text. But due to the invasion of Mughal rulers, who destroyed most of our Indian temples and the Indian text, and then the British rule. Because of all these things, we lost in touch with the ancient Indian text. Otherwise, if the same thing would have continued, might be today we still wouldn't be as a developing country. We would have been as a developed country, because all these things are already mentioned in our text. But due to invasion of the Mughal rulers and Britishers, we have lost in touch with our ancient Indian knowledge system. Okay, ma'am, next slide. Then we have, Then we have, next slide, ma'am. In under ancient Indian text, we are having, next slide, ma'am. We are having Ayurveda, medicine and health. Now here we are having, now we're going to see this in detail. We will be talking about what exactly is Ayurveda. So Indian system of medicine. We also have Chinese system of medicine, Arab system of medicine, and we are talking Ayurveda is Indian system of medicine, and it is among the well-known global traditional system of medicine. This system of medicine, which is Indian origin, it has it has assimilated into Indian culture, and this is known as Indian Ayurveda. Ayurveda is an Indian system of medicine. It is all the concepts that come, the treatment procedures of diseases or the ethical guidelines, everything comes from Ayurveda, and this is the Indian system of medicine. You have in India, it has unique distinction of having 6 recognized systems of medicine in this category under this Ayurveda. So they are under Indian system of medicine. You have Ayurveda, you have Siddha, Unani, yoga, naturopathy, and homeopathy. So did we go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Yeah. Ayurveda from other systems, how is it different from other systems of medicine like Siddha, Unani, or yoga? Or how is it different from these other systems of medicine is that, it is conceptual based. Okay. And, in this Ayurveda, you have matters which approach towards health and disease. You have all the concepts based on health and disease. So it is concept based, means there is a framework with which the book of Ayurveda is written. Okay. And it is an Indian system of medicine. And, it is apart from knowing the effect of the drug in Ayurveda, it is actually a philosophical framework of medicine. Means, apart from being not only being scientific, it also you have the effects are also philosophical in nature. Means, the practice of good habits in Ayurveda, it is not only speaking about the drugs and its outcome after taking the drug, how the body is responding. That is one concept. That is the conceptual part of Ayurveda. Apart from that, the philosophical framework, that determines the therapeutic practice with good effects. So there is philosophy. Apart from philosophy, you also have science. That's why Ayurveda stands apart. It stands different from other fields of Indian medicine. So no, it's actually the philosophical base. If you see in Ayurveda, it stems from Samakhya and Nyaya Vaishashika, which, these are the streams of Indian philosophy. Now, people who really get in, who read some concepts, at least who read what do you call our Indian epics or Bhagavad Gita, at least once in a while, can understand whatever I'm speaking in detail. Ayurveda literally means the science of life. So in which way Ayurveda stands different from other homeopathy or Unani or yoga is that along with the scientific principle, it also teaches us the philosophical way of life, how we have to lead life, So it is presumed that the fundamental and applied principles of Ayurveda, it is an organized way, and this was I'm talking the principles that is written in Ayurveda somewhere around 1500 BC. So it is not, see, now we have a systematic way of writing. Now with, developed research, we are having a system of having bibliography or a review of literature. All these things are very systematic now. But long then in 1500 BC also, when the book was written with a systematic framework, the credit goes to our ancient Indian text, Ayurveda. Though we don't have all these Mendley or all these referencing systems then, but then also the principles were very clearly mentioned in Ayurveda. You also have Atharva Veda, which is the large and the fourth great bodies of knowledge that is amongst the Vedas. It is the backbone of Indian civilization, Atharva Vedas. Amongst the four Veda, we call Atharva Veda as the backbone of Indian civilization, in which you have around 114 hymns which are related to the formulation and treatment of Indian diseases. From the knowledge gathered and nurtured over the centuries, 2 major schools and 8 specializations are evolved from this Ayurveda. One was a school of physicians, which is called as Dhanvantri. We also call it as Dhanvantri Sampradaya, and Sampradaya means tradition. And the second school of surgeons, which we refer in literature as Atreya Sampradaya. So one is Dhanvantri Sampradaya, other one is the Atreya Sampradaya. Atreya Sampradaya is known as school of surgeons. Okay, so these schools had their respective representative compilations. We have Charak Samhita, then we have Shushruta Samhita. Okay, so Charak Samhita is for the school of medicine and Shushruta Samhita is for the school of surgery. All this is mentioned in our Ayurvedic text, and the former contains several chapters, dealing with different aspects of medicine and related subjects. Around 600 drugs of plant, animal, and mineral origin are mentioned in this treatise. Anytime, if you get some time, you could just go through, because now IKS is being introduced in our curriculum. All of us, once in a while, at least have to go through these ancient texts where we understand that everything. See, right now we are having surgical instruments, but then also we had, now they are very sophisticated, they're very tailor-made, but then also we had surgical instruments with which surgeries were performed. Now in Shushruta Samhita, the Shushruta was an ancient Indian surgeon somewhere around 7th century BC, and he's the author of Shushruta Samhita. It is a comprehensive textbook on medicine and surgery. Shushruta Samhita is a comprehensive textbook on medicine and surgery. He is known as the father of plastic surgery. Okay, right now the credit goes to most of the foreigners, for doing different types of surgeries. But all the basis is again rooted from our Vedas, especially the Atharva Veda, and it is credited with the advancement of medicine in ancient India. So we have a trilogy of Ayurvedic medicine. Means three important books, that is Charak Samhita, Shushruta Samhita, and Ashtanga Hridaya. This is known as trilogy of Ayurvedic medicine, and it is a foundation of ancient Hindu form of medicine known as Ayurveda. Shushruta Samhita, it relates to the school of surgery, and it contains principles of surgery. A description of more than 100 surgical instruments, the operative procedures, the various drugs then used, and a description of anatomy, embryology, toxicology, therapeutics. All this is very mentioned in detail in Shushruta Samhita. Then it is also organized into 5 major sections. Okay, Sutrasthana. First section is known as Sutrasthana. It is a primary principle, dealing with the basic principle of medical sciences and pharmacology. Okay, and then you have Nidana. It deals with pathological concepts. Then you have Saristhana on human anatomy. Then Chikitsthana on surgical management, treatment, on medical and surgical management or treatment. Then Kalpasthanam on toxicology. So if all these are our, scientific names which we have given, but the traditional names are Sutrasthana, Nidhana, Saristhana, Chikitsansthanam, and Kalpasthanam. Okay, so Shushruta is known as the father of surgery. He was among the first people in history to propose that surgical students should learn about the human body, its organs, how you dissect a dead body. Okay, so he introduced the concept of anesthesia. Okay, right now, see, some of the surgeries were performed without giving anesthesia, but some surgeries, he induced anesthesia by using intoxicants like wine and henbane. Okay, now also they use henbane, but it is illegal in today's society. Wine and henbane were used for inducing anesthesia. He also was specialized in rhinoplasty, that is plastic surgery of the nose, and ophthalmology, that is in cataract ejection. Ma'am, if you could scroll the slide. Yeah, here you could see this is how cataract surgery was performed, and India was the first. India a long time back. So there was no one in the world that talked about cataract surgery or rhinoplasty. India was the first to talk about rhinoplasty, and this is mentioned in Shushruta Samhita. And Shushruta had invented and he used it. And the concept that he used then is even followed till date. Even the modern science still follows the concept which was developed by Shushruta. He actually, Shushruta in detail, if you see in Shushruta Samhita, he describes surgery under 8 heads. Okay, some which I can remember, I will tell you. First one is Chedya, which is excision. Then you have Chedya, Lekhya, which is scarification. And then you have Vedya, which is known as puncturing. And then you have Esya, and the last one, I don't remember the other 3. Then you have Sivya, which is suturing. Okay, right now we have given technical names, teaching, but long in the book, in Shushruta Samhita, it is mentioned as Saivya, which is called suturing. So these were so it was already existing. We teach our students in the School of Modern Medicine. We teach our students with the terms like, excision or puncturing or extraction or evacuation. Evacuation was known as Rasya. Okay, but we teach with the modern terminology, but it was all existing even in Shushruta Samhita. So it is just giving modern name for it. So suturing is known as Sivya. And Shushruta's contribution in the field of anatomy also. Shushruta was one to investigate about human anatomy. He described in detail the study of anatomy with the aid of a dead body. Now also, we use dead body as a specimen in the medical hospital, in the medical classes. But then also, Shushruta then also used a dead body in order to understand the anatomy of the human being, and it is all mentioned in Shushruta Samhita. So in the chapter Saristhana, the study of anatomy is covered in 10 chapters of Shushruta Samhita, and they are known as Saristhana. So significant anatomical considerations of ancient Hindus are found in his work. Then there is also evidence of, a human body dissection, and the ethical practices. Right now we have code of ethics. Okay, definitely we have improvised over it. Whatever is written in Shushruta Samhita or Charaka Samhita, all this, you have all the basics. In our modern text, we have improvised over it. We have refined it and we have improvised over it. But what I want to say is that, the basis still rests in our Indian knowledge system. Everything, whatever, let it be in the field of science and technology or in the field of arts or culture, wherever, in the field of literature, wherever, everything is rooted from our Indian knowledge system. The the what we are unfortunate that we got to know it now, and at least the government is introducing Indian knowledge system into the curriculum, at least now. Otherwise, long back, if it was introduced soon after the independence, might be we would catch up, and most of the inventions and discoveries, the credit of inventions and discoveries or patents would have been into India's share. But because of that long gap, we are now trying to understand what is already existing in our ancient text and how we can improvise over it. We can take the idea from there, we can work on it, we can improvise and go for n number of research publications and research in the coming future also. And coming to the other contributions by Shushruta, he also spoke about 12 different types of fractures or 6 different types of bone dislocations. So everything concerned, to general surgery. Also, right now, you have all this dermatology and all, but then also in Shushruta Samhita also, there are methods of how you can stimulate hair growth, how you can remove unwanted hair. Right now, under cosmetology and dermatology, we are learning about issues related to skin and how to improve our hair growth. But all these things were already mentioned in Shushruta Samhita. Then there's another scientific test similar to Shushruta Samhita, that is Charaka Samhita. In Charaka, Acharya Charaka also, same like our Professor Shushruta. In the same way, Acharya Charaka, he was around, this dates back around 300 BC, I'm sorry, around 300 BC. And he's a key contributor to Ayurvedic's ancient art and science. And Charaka Samhita talks about ethical practices. What is good, what is not bad, how we have to do. Mostly about in modern days, if I could tell you about, it talks about diet. Charaka Samhita talks about diet, hygiene, prevention. It is good that how we prevent diseases rather than curing the disease. Shushruta Samhita talks about after the disease is into our body, how we try to cure it and treat it. But Charaka Samhita talks about prevention, how we prevent ourselves from diseases, and what is a balanced diet, all about ethical good things, ethical guidelines, and what we call about palliative care now. What is palliative care? When the doctor says that there's no hope for the person to survive, at that time we give them palliative care, wherein, depending upon the religion that they belong to, we try to support them with the religious text, We try to give them so that, the last minute when they are losing their life, let them go with good thoughts. So all this kind of palliative care is mentioned in Charaka Samhita. So it's all about how you lead life. Charaka Samhita, along with uh, um, what do you call Shushruta Samhita, it talks about how you lead life along with surgical procedures, how you lead life. So these are very important books in Ayurveda, Charaka Samhita and Shushruta Samhita. Okay, so Charaka Samhita is basically about the way we lead life, what kind of diet we take, and what kind of hygiene we maintain, and what exactly is medical education, and how we prevent diseases. Okay, so this and the in Shushruta Samhita, the first cataract surgery was mentioned and other surgical procedures. So we then also had surgical instruments, but definitely now they are even more sharp and more improvised. Next slide, ma'am. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about, plastic surgery. Next slide, ma'am. Yeah. So now technology and engineering. So that we saw about in the field of health, ancient Indian text in the field of health. Now we're going to see in terms of technology and engineering. Next slide, ma'am. Yeah. So now this is very important. So I've just taken one or two examples. There are n number of examples. So for the most prevalent ones I've taken, the wood steel. Okay, so now we have nanotechnology. Now this is a field of science, just like biotechnology, like that we have nanotechnology coming up. In nanotechnology, actually this wood steel, which is there, no, it is a super high carbon steel, exhibiting advanced process, known for high quality or as high impact hardness and super plasticity. Means, it can also cut a silk thread with precision. Even a silk thread, a single strand of silk thread also can be cut with precision. And it's very lightweight. Normally, wood steel is used in preparation of sword. Okay, sword with which the kings used to fight. Okay, so, and it is rust free. And the two important features is that it's quite sharp. It's quite sharp. Now we study under the field of nanotechnology. This wood steel, we cite it as an example, as an advancement in the field of nanotechnology. The thing is, it is made up of super high carbon steel. Okay, so dimensions, it's coated. The base is coated with nanomaterials, and so it is lightweight, and it is quite sharp, and it is rust free. So this was a long time back existing in our ancient Indian text. But now with the advent of nanotechnology, we are reading it. So it already existed. Or if we would have read our ancient Indian text long back, might be the discovery of, invention of wood steel would be into our Indian credit. But because we didn't read it, we've given it to someone else. So this wood steel invited the attention of, Michael Faraday. Michael Faraday, who invented electricity, and he had a very good hold in magnetism. He visited India, and he stayed in India for some time, and he read about what exactly is this wood steel. So he was very much interested to know about what exactly is this wood steel. Why does it have these features of not getting rusted and very, very sharp? It could even cut silk thread, a single strand of silk thread, with utter precision, and it was lightweight. Okay, so Michael Faraday, a person who invented electricity and who had a thorough knowledge of magnetism. So a person with scientific temperament also felt like coming back to India and reading our ancient Indian text, because much earlier, see, Michael Faraday, if you can remember, it dates back somewhere around 1818 to 1822. Our electricity and magnetism concepts were put forth then. So much before that, wood steel was mentioned in our ancient Indian text. So there is no concept that is not written in our ancient Indian text. We only have to read that. We only have to revisit it and try to make some advancements now, polish it and try to make some advancements. So this Michael Faraday was very much impressed about, such high quality steel, which is, and the credit goes to South India. At that time in Chennai, now called Chennai, it was in that area that this wood steel was made, southern India. Then we have another metallurgical advancement, that is iron pillar. Iron pillar of Delhi, we know till date it is rust free. Okay, so the composition of the metal that we have used in preparation, in manufacturing of this iron pillar in Delhi, is so that even till date, though it is withstanding rainfall or summer heat, whatever, even after withstanding all such climatic changes, it still stands tall and rust free. So they were all astonished, surprised to know what exactly we were doing in India and how we could, manufacture such marvels. So this is one of the metallurgy also comes under science and technology. It is also an advancement where again it is rooted back to our Indian knowledge system. Next one, ma'am. Then we have dyeing technique. Okay, so in under dyeing techniques also, right now we all know that how the dyes are prepared. So we have commercial dyes, we have dyes prepared from natural sources, also from flowers, and also it was then also they prepared dyes. Then also the textiles were colored. Then also the textbooks which they used then, that was also in the raw form. It was unbleached. So how dyes were prepared then? You could see the photo. That is the oldest photo that we have taken. And then there also, it was dyes were prepared from natural sources and commercial sources, and mixing of natural and commercial sources in barrels. How first now suppose you had to take the color from a natural source, from a flower. So how the flowers were plucked and immediately used in the process of dyeing, because you can't keep it for a long time. And the same concept is still followed, means the scientific principle remains the same. Whatever is written in the ancient Indian text, how to prepare a dye, the same scientific principle is still followed till date. Might be we are advancing over it. Might be we are trying to, increase the longevity of the dye even after putting in water, so that the dye doesn't lose its color. We might be using some binders, to improve the longevity of the dye, but the concept and the basic principle is still derived from our ancient Indian text. So dyeing techniques were there then also, and the same is being followed now also. And in the same way, even when it comes to perfumery, the technical science of Indian cosmetics and perfumery, it is developed by ancient Indian and medieval authors. If you see some textual evidences, you have Brihat Samhita, which was written by Brihat Samhita by Varahamira. Brihat Samhita was written by Varahamira, and we also have Agni Purana, Brihat Samhita. These are all ancient texts in which, you have all the concepts which I'm talking about, Indian cosmetics, how cosmetics, then also, now we are giving it different brands and marketing it differently, but the basic method or principle of how you are making a cosmetic, it stems back from our ancient Indian text. So you can find it in Brihat Samhita, and you can find it in Agni Purana. Even there's another text also called Mana Solasa, which is written by King Someshwara. Mana Solasa, which is written by King Someshwara. Then we have Agni Purana, we have Brihat Samhita. Brihat Samhita is the most famous one, which is written by Varahamira. In all these things, definitely they are all written in Sanskrit. So we have to know Sanskrit in order to understand the content in it. So, these are all encyclopedias wherein you can find, the textual evidence of how you can prepare any cosmetic agent or how you can prepare a perfume. Perfumes are also taken from ether. After the ones, after the ancient Indian texts, if you can see during the Mughal period and all, we have ether. That ether is also, it is ether manufacturing of the floral type. It takes place in big barrels. Okay, from the natural flowers they take. If flowers are quickly, they are plucked and quickly processed. And you have big, we have one traditional method. It is known as Deg and Bhapka method. This is the most prevalent method. One second, madam, just a second. This is the most significant method, Deg and Bhapka method, and this is a method that is used to prepare perfumes. Even today, um, in Kannauj, Kannauj is a place, even in the city of Kannauj, which is known as the city of perfumes. Today also they use this Deg and Bhapka method, DEG. Deg and Bhapka method is, we have n number of methods, improvised method, but even today, attar is prepared by this Deg and Bhapka method in Kannauj. And this also again dates back from our Indian knowledge system. It was all mentioned there also. Okay, and then you have other perfumes are also prepared from oils, aromatic plants, and the oils which are derived from aromatic plants. And all this is mentioned in Gandha Yukti. There is a book, Gandha Yukti. In Gandha Yukti, all about how perfumes are prepared. So there are certain chapters wherein you have concepts based on how they are prepared from essential oils, how they are prepared from flowers. The same principles are used till date also. That's it. You could see in the picture, you could see how these are the big barrels, pots. Even today, if you go and see in any of the perfumery unit, the same kind of distillation, the same heating, the same barrels, the same kind of distillation is still performed, might be in much more hygienic way. But the principle followed is the same. Yes, ma'am. That's it. Thank you. So at the end, you could scroll a bit, ma'am. Mera Bharat, a land of rich traditions and culture. So everything is encrypted in our ancient Indian text. The only thing is that we have to look into that. We have to read that so that it helps us in any of our innovations. And the Indian government has taken an initiative in introducing IKS into our curriculum so that our students understand the value of being born in such a country which is rich of traditions and culture. Every other tradition that we follow definitely has a scientific meaning behind it. There's a scientific concept hidden behind it. I'm open for discussion.